probably went cheap like I did on my house, where I have where I have three sides brick and the fucking back I have to keep painting.
That's what they
like
did. They said, "Hey, let's do what Krantz did. Let's just go. That we're going to save the last 100 million on this thing."
Yeah, like I did on this house. Yeah.
All right, we are live, even on Facebook today, ladies and gentlemen. A stunning development as we are back live on the Facebook. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for turning the spigot back on, or whatever the fuck it was you did. They're still not being very forthcoming about this whole thing. I'll be honest with you.
Well, no, they said it was a routing problem with the combuberator not touching the kashmakamator.
The combuberator. It's always the combuberator.
Yeah. All right, we're here. We're back on the Facebook. Okay.
I'm back. You're back. We're back.
Yeah. All right.
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Do I have any food on my face here today?
There's a pizza above your eyebrow. No, you're good. You're fine.
Okay. It is the Brad and Britt cast, our second one for this week. First one on Facebook for reasons that you know, and we're glad you're with us here. And by the way, just in case you didn't know, Facebook is, of course, sitting at home. Facebook is a person. Okay,
it's a person.
Let's talk about it. It's a person.
It's a being.
Guy.
It's a sentient being.
Right, and they're holding the public hearings on Tuesday with the woman who smuggled out all the papers and went on 60 Minutes, and she's saying things that we've already seen the transcript, and she said that. And so, what is Facebook doing right now? In other words, they are, and as we speak, we're kind of a little bit after 1:30 in the East on Tuesday. At 1:05, I kid you not, they tweeted out from something called the Facebook Newsroom. I guess that is a thing. And it's titled, "Creating Instagram Videos Just Got Easier." That's right. We're combining IGTV and feed videos into one format, whatever that is. Instagram video, which you can find in a new video tab on your profile. So their response, this could be the king of the fuck you response in the history of fuck you responses to getting hammered in Congress, possibly regulated and squeezed from 25 different directions. This is the I'm John Gotti, I'm Donald Trump, fuck you, here we are, bring it, assholes, announcing during these hearings that there's a new way to make videos that are easier to do it, so you can so you can fuck up more people and maybe get some more teenage girls to consider suicide if they hadn't considered it yet.
This announcement, the Brad and Britt cast, now available on Instagram. I was not even another platform for us. That is so great. I am so happy this is happening.
Bring it.
I kind of wish that those engineers had been working on, I don't know, let me think, something to keep Facebook on. I mean, that would have been something they could have worked on instead of making this video thing, and they still can't really explain what happened. They can't really. I don't think it was
a binary choice, Britt. But
it was a binary choice. You're either here or you're there. You're either working on making sure that we can put our cocks on Instagram, or you're making sure that Facebook is up. That's what you're doing. And people were running around like chickens with their heads cut off yesterday, and they still can't explain what's going on. And I know you're trying to get past this, but when they have these hearings, every time those people in Congress don't understand Facebook. They don't get it. Even the ones that are like 40. They sit there and they go, hey, and they have questions written out by their staff, and they have no idea.
They're saying that they do this time. No, they're saying this time.
Oh, we got it this time.
It's different. Right,
12 shots at it. We finally zeroed in, and we're going to ask them what the fuck is going on with Messenger.
Well, but here's the problem. No matter how well they might understand it, no matter how sophisticated they might be technologically, the problem I think is that Facebook is now so intertwined into the economy of this country. And I'm not talking about the content that you see or that you share or that influences people to do stupid things or overthrow the government of the United States. That we can forget about that for a moment here, because that's small stuff, right? That doesn't matter. But on the economic side, so many small businesses, so many advertisers, small ones, not giant ones, small ones. Budweiser will be fine if they never ever buy a Facebook ad ever. General Motors and Tesla, they don't. But smaller advertisers. So therefore, the argument will be, and this is 12 steps beyond, say, what was thrown out there in defense of tobacco 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You remember this, where it was actually with a straight face said, you're going to destroy the economies of blank, like North Carolina, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina. If you clamp down on the nicotine and all the right, and of course that was bullshit. It had no effect, really. I mean, yes, individual people, individual companies had to change the way they did things, and yes, there are a lot of people who went to the plant in Tobaccoville, the 20,000 people who worked at R.J. Reynolds back in 1946. Right. We understand that, but in terms of destroying the economy, that's a different argument. But Facebook is truly enmeshed in the national economy and commerce in a way that tobacco wasn't. Now, this is not the day on Capitol Hill for anyone to ever bring up a point like that. That's not on the table right now. We can talk about it here, because of course we're a podcast, we're on Facebook too. Right, that's correct. Right, and we use it. So no matter what they do legislatively in terms of regulations, it's possible, probably likely, that Facebook once again may, just like in wrestling, just when you think you got him, just when it's over, they wiggle just out. When they're 1, 2, and then they get up, right? It could be another one of those situations. And so now we're going to do a segment, and Britt, you get to be judge and jury here. It's called Does Brad Suck? Or does Brad not suck?
Does Brad suck or does Brad not suck? Here we go.
Because, I have to address my own, if you decide that there's a rank hypocrisy here, I hear you. As you know, I got a guy. He does my stock investing for me for the last couple of years.
You make it sound like he's down an alley somewhere and you open up a door like at 2:00 in the morning. I got a guy. I know a guy.
I got a guy.
He's a stockbroker.
Well, he's with some other guys. They're in a little building.
Are you running numbers at 3:00 in the morning? Is that what's happening?
Sometimes it feels that way. Jesus. And one of the holdings is Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. One of the holdings. We're talking about a basket of 30 or so stocks. So one of the holdings is Facebook. So it's 2 or 3% of the whole thing. But it's grown nicely in the last couple of years. It's probably more than that, or has been. So I talked to the guy yesterday, and I said, man, I don't know if I want to be involved with Facebook. It's just something
ethically
making money.
Ethically, they've crossed the line with you.
It would be like owning a tobacco stock to me
really
now, and I would never ever buy a tobacco stock.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. I think we talked about this on the previous podcast. I think that a lot of large investors, not small pieces of little nothing like me, who just have a guy, or are themselves the investor decider, are decide what is this worth it? Or now this is the devil or angel thing, but they make so much money. and they continue to grow. And it doesn't matter what they do in Washington. These sons of bitches, they've beaten them before. They'll beat them again. And they will keep growing and growing and figure out new ways to get into your life and selling shit. They're going to be a winner. I don't care if the stock was down 5%. Yes. Who gives a shit? Believe me, that's happened 10 times. Every time that happens, it's a buying opportunity. And all right. So I'm talking to the guy, and he says to me, I've got young kids. The last thing I want is for them to be on Instagram or Facebook. But guess what? I can't stop them. This is the guy. He's saying this. He's got young kids.
Now, do you relate to this? Do you agree with this? Do you like if you're a parent, there's no way to keep them?
Absolutely, I wouldn't want. I'm thankful that my kids are older than that, which of course puts me a little bit closer to death. But okay, I'm still glad that they.
This was the real conundrum. I don't know. This instant messenger could get my kids into a lot of trouble. Should I let them on it? That was like your conundrum back in the day.
Right. So I said, I think I don't know if I want to. I don't think I want to be in this.
If it bothers you that much, you should get out. I mean, if it's an actual.
So I said, all right. So here we go. Here's the way it ended up. Sell half of it.
That's bullshit.
Sell half of it.
Oh, that's bullshit. Wait.
And I'm going to get specific here. What are you going to do with the money? I said, why don't you take that, split it in half and take the proceeds and turn right back around within 5 minutes right away and buy salesforce.com, a company with a conscience, a company with a wonderful public track record, a company with a CEO, Mark Benioff, who is extremely out of his way charitable. I believe they've set aside 1% of everything they've ever made ever from the beginning when they probably were making no money and said, we're going to use it for this. And they go way above and beyond that. And they're open and transparent. And bottom line is everybody hates Facebook. Nobody hates Salesforce. Okay. And everybody hates Zuckerberg. I don't think very many people hate Mark Benioff. Not even close. I said,
but you're half-ass about it. You're like, half
there
outraged?
You go. So that's the question. Do I suck?
Yes.
Or do I not suck?
Yes, you suck. You're either all in or you're all out. Don't do I'm half a bad guy. Facebook is half a bad. No, you either get out and you are having like a real moral issue with this, so get the fuck out. I don't understand how half helps you at all. I'm going to soothe my conscience by buying Salesforce. Oh, I love that. That's great. You either are going to do this because you are morally outraged and you think these guys are bad trouble, or you're not. You can't play halvesies on this. That's ridiculous. Come on, man.
Should we not put our Brad and Britt cast podcast on Facebook? Would that be showing them?
Again, I can't tell you that I'm morally clear on this thing because I haven't deleted the Facebook app from my phone. I've been on it today and I've bought stuff off Facebook and I've done all of that stuff. But I'm not going to be like, I'll just be halvesies on it. I'll delete Facebook, but I'll still be on Instagram. You can't do that. You got to be all in or you got to be all out on that thing, I think. I mean, I was looking at the really evil companies, and I think we all agree that Altria is a really evil company, right? Really, really bad. The former Philip Morris, right? Altria.
You can just mention any tobacco company. You know.
And I'm looking. Most of the stuff that I have in my retirement, I've got it in an S&P index kind of thing, and of course, Altria is part of the S&P 500. I'm just looking right there.
That's different.
So they're getting a little bit of my money. So I'm either I can't get in or out on that one. I can't do anything with that.
I'm not comparing that. I'm not comparing.
No, you need to get out. Then if you need to get all the way out. If you are that morally, and I think the reasoning that you've come up with is perfectly fine. I don't know how you arrived at half. I don't know how you got to. I'll do half. That'll send a message. Zuckerberg will be like, oh no, he's only half in. Oh, I got to fix him.
Britt, believe me, if I'm all out, that won't send a message either.
But it will at least be it'll be more in line with your moral objections that you're bringing up here for sure. I mean, again, some people may have missed this because we weren't on Facebook yesterday. The report on 60 Minutes, what the whistleblower said and what she will say in front of Congress is that the bullshit sells. When they let misinformation flow and don't clamp down on it, they get more engagement and they make more money. And that's why Facebook loves it. That's the bottom line. By the way,
thank you, Britt, because people that didn't see our show on Facebook yesterday didn't know any of that.
They didn't know any of that stuff.
They didn't know any of that because they get all their information from Facebook and us, the Brad and Britt cast.
And us. That's what she said. That was there's a lot of stuff that she said in there, but the nugget that anyone needs to remember is, we would do something about misinformation, but it makes us so much fucking money. And we love it. And it's more engagement. It's all of that stuff. So again, I don't see how Congress clamps down on that. Even if Congress had them, as you say, 1, 2, 3, they couldn't agree on what they should do to regulate them. They wouldn't know what to do to regulate them. Would they break them up? Would they don't know. There's not a plan. There is no plan right now with anybody in Congress.
Not according to Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, home of the Boston Red Sox. We're going to go up against the New York Yankees tonight in the do or die game.
And now I've got a little story about a guy named Bucky Dent. You've never heard this story before either. It's really something else.
That's a great one. He broke their hearts, didn't he? He broke those Red Sox.
There's no real plan. These people don't know what they're doing as far as, and I'm not one of these that government can't do anything right, but they don't know what they would do to attack or regulate Facebook or make sure that misinformation doesn't get out there. They just don't. They need to do more than they're doing now, but they don't know what to do. Even if they can get Mark Zuckerberg to go, all right, fuck it. You got me. Hands up. I'm coming out with my hands raised and you guys need to jump on and do something. They wouldn't know what to do.
I just think that tweet they sent out 30 minutes ago
says
more than everything we've just been saying. It really does.
Well, it does.
In the middle of this, you would dare.
Well, just
tell everyone it's now easier to destroy the world.
It's partially that, plus it's also, last year was also, we're very concerned about this and we're working so hard to make sure this misinformation doesn't spread.
There was a lot of years into that. They're 10 years into that bullshit. Yeah.
This COVID stuff and this election stuff, we are really super serious about all of this.
I haven't read everything yet. I don't think everything is out there yet to be read, but there is going to be a moment, I think, where Zuckerberg is going to be placed under oath again, as he has been before.
Yeah.
And part of the problem that the company faces, beyond what we were just talking about, is on the financial side that there are demonstrable lies that he told the public and that he told investors about not only what they were doing in regards to disinformation, but that they have been, and this is beyond everything we've already been talking about, that they may have been fudging the numbers of how many people are on the platforms. And well, you know what that means. They've just said, we have a bigger audience than we have. And of course you can charge more money for a bigger audience. I'm speaking in general terms, but you're not allowed to lie about those kinds of things. You're not allowed to lie to the regulators, the Security and Exchange Commission. You're not allowed to lie to investors in the public markets about that.
That's illegal.
And this would be the equivalent of the old getting Al Capone for his tax returns, getting Donald Trump for writing a $100,000 check through Michael Cohen to Stormy Daniels instead of all the other things that he did to destroy the country. It would be. And this is actually not really a technicality. It's a big deal.
It is.
And so therefore, and here's why that makes sense that's likely. Because you would have to believe if that wasn't true that, okay, they've been lying about all these other things, right? They've been lying about how much damage they knew it would do to people, how much turbulence they could cause in societies in general, by just flipping a switch on an algorithm back and forth. Before the election, we're going to be tough. After the election, go for it. You have to believe that they were not truthful about those things, because they weren't, and they hid that. But they've always been straight up in the number of people who are on the platform. Really?
But the only person who ever seems to go to jail for shit like this is Martha Stewart. I'm sorry. I mean, there always seems to be some very serious threats about, well, if you fudge the numbers, it's going to be a big deal. But the only person who ever really gets in trouble, and that was some insider trading too. But
right, but and in the scheme of things here, she would be a small person. She'd be small fry compared to this.
Oh my God!
This is big stuff. But
absolutely.
Anyway, it's a fascinating story, obviously, for us and for you probably, since you use Facebook. You, the home listener, the in-car listener, or the podcast listener, or the YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher, whatever shitter thing that you use to hear us. So if you're interested in this, that's why. Now, you know what? You sent me a text message yesterday that I think can now go alongside one of our main categories of shit that's too stupid to talk about. And I think we should have a category that we occasionally go to, and we have to go to it, fairly often. And it should be called, "Why is X dead and Trump still alive?"
Right.
And you did it with the announced death of Alan Coulter, the announcer on the David Letterman show, who died at 78. Isn't Trump 78?
I think that's about right. Yeah.
I think he's that age. Yeah. And of course, if you or I had a choice, which one of these people should be dead right now? Well, the wrong guy died in the hospital the other day. Okay. And so there's a lot of, and especially when it's someone much younger.
Exactly.
They definitely fit into the why is so-and-so dead, but Trump is still alive. And you know what? This is a common thing. I had a conversation today with a relative of mine out of state, and he, out of left field, he actually said, "Wouldn't it be just great if Trump just dropped dead?" He said that. I didn't prompt him. And so people, we're not the only ones think of that one. I mean, that's a wide, that's far and wide to think.
Coulter would have been the signature guy for the Late Show, although Bill Wendell did spill over for a couple of years. And I think Robert Morton on one podcast said that they ended up firing Wendell because he stole like some water or something. He kept stealing water from like the company closet or some shit like that.
Wendell, you got to do what you got to do.
I know that he pissed Dave off because you would hear that. You remember hearing this. Bill Wendell would do voiceovers for like rock stations and rock morning shows and stuff. And he would do it in the David Letterman style. It's like, here's Bill and Ted on Rock 108 or whatever. He would do that. And I think he did that without the permission of the show, which Dave would have given it to him. But I think that kind of ran him into some little high ground. And then eventually they got rid of Bill Wendell. And then Alan Coulter, who was amazing in his own right for 20 years on that show and was very, very funny. And now, as you point out, he's dead and Donald Trump is still walking around alive for some reason that we can't figure out. I would like to know your plan, God, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'll be asking you in a bit. Couple of cable interviews making the news, Brad. First of all, Mike Pence, who is definitely not gay, was on the show, Sean Hannity show, saying that he parted amicably with Donald Trump and that the media is making too much of January the 6th, Brad, and that that's distracting them from the terrible agenda of Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. That is what Mike Pence, the former vice president of the United States and possible future presidential candidate, was saying to the great Sean Hannity on the Fox News channel last night, Brad.
Too stupid to talk about.
Well,
no, it really is. You can't even for 1 second entertain what Mike Pence says now about anything with any degree of, he's got a point. He was there, so he knows. No, there's none of that. There's none of that. This is an empty vessel of garlic powder that just kind of wafts around and
the real miracle is that he actually did the right thing on January the 6th. I think looking back, considering what, as you say, a vapid piece of garbage this guy is, that he actually didn't try to protest the votes and try to throw democracy into turmoil. He actually just did his ceremonial job.
Right.
That's the miracle.
Well, yes, that's the miracle. And before we start erecting statues to him,
no, I'm not
naming congressional prizes after him, I would compare that to, okay, let's say you attend a baseball game next week, you go to a playoff game, and you don't sneak a gun into the stadium, and you don't kill someone on the field, that's equivalent to about what Mike Pence gets credit for. Okay, Britt, you didn't kill someone at the game. You didn't ruin everyone, right?
I drove drunk all over town last night, and I didn't kill anybody. Okay, why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about that? Kudos to me.
In other words, if Pence thinks, and by the way, think about this. Remember that act that he did, which is just doing his job.
That's all he did.
Just being the rubber stamp person that hands over power to the new president in the appropriate way at the Electoral College countdown there, or count up, or count at the Congress. That is the most egregious, horrible act that he ever performed, according to everyone who thinks that Donald Trump was robbed of the presidency, who had it stolen from him, who thinks that Trump should be the rightful president right now, who has thought on several occasions since January, this is the day he's coming back. So Mike Pence, he really sets a new standard for having painted himself into a rhetorical corner, because if at any point, and I doubt, I didn't see the interview, I didn't even read the article, but I doubt seriously that Sean Hannity was complimenting him for the wonderful job he did for America on January 6th.
No.
So
I think they spent a fair amount of time. They shit on Biden for most of it, and at the end, it was like, "How are you and Trump doing?" He's like, "We're great. We're good. We parted as friends." After he tried to have me murdered.
Right. So if you spend 4 years being, bootlicker number one, would you put him in first place? It's hard to
Pompeo, Barr. Yeah. I mean, you can.
But just based on the fact that he was vice president,
sure.
We'll call him bootlicker number one. You've been that for 4 years, and then the last act you perform is just a perfunctory requirement of your office. You've got nothing. You truly have nothing. Good day, sir. Kind of thing. Just get out. Yeah. He is, and we all have mentioned this several times. We all have to remember that Mike Pence was on the verge of 100% oblivion until Donald Trump somehow was convinced by whoever was helping him pick the vice president, this is the most inoffensive, irrelevant, non-threatening, won't try to steal the spotlight, second banana piece of shit you can get as vice president. And Trump says, "That's my boy." So we've seen people who've been vice president try to run for president. It doesn't work all that often. Sometimes it does, right? George H.W. Bush was Reagan's vice president. There you go. He's in there. Al Gore just won the election but didn't become president.
That's all he did. Yeah. The Supreme Court gave the election to Bush. So.
Right. So it doesn't work all the time. But compared to Mike Pence, Al Gore and George H.W. Bush were legitimate, significant, thinking political figures in the country at the time that they ran. And Mike Pence is nothing. And he can keep talking all he wants. He can go on the rubber chicken circuit or whatever it is. He has about as much support as what's going on down here in my pants right now. Not a lot. Needs more. Could be doing better.
No, but the galling part of this, and what pisses me off is, again, he's trying to poo-poo what happened on January the 6th. Man, there were Secret Service guys and Capitol cops that kept this motherfucker alive. And he's out there talking about how the media's playing it up too much. He can kiss my ass.
Right. But you know what? You're right times 100, because, of course, this is truly, why are they talking about this when blah, blah, everything you just said?
I mean, it's ridiculous.
And I know we live in two parallel media universes, and one side gets this and one side gets that. And it's not that. It is not a quote unquote fair and balanced version of what is going on. in the world. It's the reality-based world and the bullshit world. Okay, Pence lives in the bullshit world, and to live in the bullshit world and to prosper in the bullshit world, you have to keep lying and throwing out bullshit about reality. While those of us over here, we are disgusted, we are shocked, we're never surprised anymore. But we have to win this, or else I don't know what's left. I may have to sell the last half of my Facebook holdings, to get out.
I mean, I certainly I have as many misgivings about police activity as most people do, and I support police officers as much as other people. But it must be galling for a police officer to go through what the Capitol Police did on January 6th to keep this dumb son of a bitch alive. Right. And then they've had people that have had PTSD and commit suicide, and he's on there jacking off with Sean Hannity. I mean, that's got to be galling for those guys.
I don't know. I don't know how any group of police officers, any police union, any of them still support people like Mike Pence or Donald Trump or any of these folks after what happened on January 6th, what happened in the wake of January 6th, and what is happening right now in terms of trying to pretend it never happened, lie about what did happen, and practically charge the police officers on site with being part of the planning and what happened, which of course wasn't anything anyway, right? So what is the problem? Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Another cable interview making news is Stephanie Grisham, when she's publicizing her book, went on CNN, and she is at least taking some of the blame and responsibility for enabling Donald Trump to cost lives during COVID. She also says that she has some conflicts in her conscience about what happened on January the 6th and her role in causing that. She said the word bullshit on TV, which apparently bothered her, but her co-host reminded her that she was on cable, so there would be no sanctions. Stephanie Grisham at least taking ownership. Again, we have dismissed her previously, but at least she's saying, hey, I'll straight up tell you I was part of the problem. And that's an issue. So do you give her any credit for that, Brad?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do. It doesn't fix what you and I and millions of others were saying the last 4 years while the train wreck in slow motion occurred, which is, why are these people still there? Why do they work for him? Why do they take jobs for him? Why do they enable him? Why do they lie for him? Why do they pretend things that we all saw didn't happen? Why does Kellyanne Conway exist? All these existential questions of people who were there for the ride and thought somehow that this was a resume building exercise that would stand them well after Trump left the presidency, and that they weren't part of the Washington, D.C. White House power structure or the administration power structure anymore. And sure, she's saying what she should say. She's saying what there are probably dozens, hundreds of people should be saying. So I give her some credit for that. Now, question is she banned on Fox also? Do they not want to talk to her? Of course they don't want to talk to her. They don't want to talk to her because if she says, I enabled Donald Trump, I guess their response would be, yes, you enabled him to cut taxes and boost our economy and get the lowest unemployment rate among Black people, Latinos, Chinese people, right? They would. So she's not welcome there, again, as always, as expected. So this is a case where, yes, we hear it, we read about it, but the people who need to hear about it, the people who were hoodwinked, the people who went along for the ride and are still going along for the ride and are ready and willing and able to keep sending money to Trump and ready to campaign for him if he decides to run and isn't either caught up in legal issues or hasn't gotten the please send him a letter, please some medical person telling him he shouldn't be allowed to run. Please do it for us. it's beyond anything that you can imagine in terms of all these people who are like Stephanie Grisham, who just went along for the ride. And now, of course, as time goes on, you tip two choices. You can come out and confess and write a book and a tell-all and say I was wrong and this was not a good thing. And I realized the whole way through that Trump sucked, which really doesn't make you a good person now, but I guess it cleanses your palate and allows you to go on with life at a certain way. And it keeps you getting invited on CNN and MSNBC anytime they need someone like you, because Mary Trump can't be on all the time. So you see what I did there? You see Mary Trump, the niece of Donald Trump, and she wrote.
And now we come to the real problem in America, people harassing Kristen Sinema. Days after she was followed into a bathroom and recorded by people who are not happy with the way that she's acting in the Senate. Apparently, the National View reporting that on the way back to Washington, she was harassed over her opposition to the reconciliation package. Of course, Kristen Sinema is the Democratic senator from Arizona who will just not get up with the program, Brad, and she will not get along with her demands. But I don't think we need to bother her while she's peeing. Your thoughts?
There's something seriously wrong with her. All right.
Okay. Agreed.
There's something seriously wrong with her. And at this moment, she very well could be that last vote. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because you can talk to Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is frustrating. He says things that drive you, but he does speak and he does move and he does change and he does speak in a way that first you want to punch him out. And then if you dissect his words, he does leave some. She says nothing. All right. She says nothing. There's something seriously wrong with her. She 20 years ago was the protester who is now following Kristen Sinema into the bathroom and bugging her on airplanes. She was that person. How did she turn into this enigmatic, crazy person who lives off of pissing off everyone in her political party? This isn't about, oh, you're a sheep, you're supposed to vote the only way we do it. That's not what this is about. I mean, she has nothing. She brings nothing to the discussion except what you might believe is a Republican stance with a D next to it. And what's even more irritating is, and she's such a phony, and we got a lot of phony politicians everywhere. We got plenty of them where we are. But she ran in 2018 and said, I am going to be the new John McCain. I'm going to be that maverick. I am going to be, okay. This is not John McCain. A Democratic John McCain person doing this. Not even close. Not even close. And McCain had principles. He really did. He was a principled guy.
Yeah.
And yes, he would piss off his own party at times, but that wasn't because he was doing it just to do it for fun. So that he could walk away and not answer any questions from anybody about any. That's a disgrace to put her name and his name even in the same sentence. And it's almost like the part about, well, you don't follow her into a bathroom or don't harass her on an airplane. That almost falls into, this is too stupid to talk about, because there is no comparison. There is no comparison between, and yes, you're entitled to your personal space and you're entitled to go to the bathroom. And by the way, if you see the video in the fucking bathroom, yes, they walked into the bathroom, they were trying to talk to her, and she goes and hides in the stall. Okay. That's not, they followed her into the bathroom, opened the door, took pictures of her and posted them on the internet, and it's pornography. It isn't that at all. Okay. So again, I think that was a nothing. It's overblown.
Well,
it was an attempt to try to paint liberal crazies as just as nuts as the people who show up at school board meetings. Who I want to talk about here.
That would be the point. That would be the point.
That's all this is.
The people who are feigning indignation at this would be the same people who would be telling you to
by the way, what was
to yell at Johnny Doolittle at the school board meeting on Thursday and scream at him about your kid wearing a mask.
Right. And by the way, what was the level of harassment on the airplane that elicited an article here? Because if we work off of headlines, Britt, we get ourselves in trouble. Okay.
A day after she was harassed by protesters at Arizona State University, moderate Democratic Senator Kristen Sinema was confronted by activists while on board a flight from Arizona to D.C.'s Reagan Airport, where she was met by more activists who harangued her over opposition to the reconciliation package pending in the House. Can you explain to the American people what you plan on cutting from Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan? Green Deal.
My God. They said that to her?
Is it elder care that you want to cut, or is it child care? Green New Deal Network Chief of Staff Kunur Ojha said while chasing Sinema through the airport.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I can't. The violence, the hate.
I'm sorry.
Dare.
Anne Frank, line 2. Britt,
this is a senator. This is a senator that has not had one town hall meeting in 3 years. We always talk about the fact that it was the Republicans who would never have town halls because they didn't want to answer shit about Trump. They won't have to do it right. Well, she's doing it. She's supposedly a Democrat. If this is not a story, this is too stupid to talk about. She should be lucky that this is all that happens to her. By the way, is there some law? Did I miss this? Is there a law against haranguing someone? Is there an anti-haranguing statute? Is that a hate harangue? Is there
I just cry for the civility. Where is the civility? Can you commit to passing a reconciliation that would provide a pathway to citizenship for immigrants? We've been waiting for that for a long time, said one woman, repeating, can you commit to that multiple times? Flight attendants did not appear to notice that episode and didn't intervene despite Sinema looking visibly disturbed, Brad.
Yeah, well, tough shit for her. And by the way, remember, these are her supporters. These aren't Republicans threatening her.
Yeah.
And saying, don't you dare vote for all these terrible programs that will help people, that'll cost tax. This wasn't. These are her people. Okay.
No, if it was Republicans,
this is not a balanced world where when a Republican politician gets whacked at a town hall, it will very often be by someone from the other. It'll be an opposition. These are your people. You've pissed off your own people. To the point where the only way she won't speak to anybody. She talks to no one, including her own supporters. So they have to find.
If it's Republicans, if it's Republicans, they break windows in the Capitol and try to murder you. If it's Democrats, they ask you some questions on an airplane.
Yeah, that's not fair.
I mean, there's just a little bit of a difference there. If there's some sort of an issue there. So that's what the new. But the National Review, it should be noted. I mean, during the Trump years, they were pretty vocal, sounding out about what an embarrassment Donald Trump was during those years.
But you know what? That now doesn't matter because they can now be back into whatever they are, which is just a right wing. I want to finish with something that happened last night.
Sure.
I wrote about this on the Facebook.
After it came back.
I was watching the Raiders game with the Chargers, and a ping notification came on my phone, and it said, the Biden Department of Justice just launched a new war on parents. I thought, wow, this is terrible. How could they do this? Parents trying to raise their children in a wonderful, safe manner in the United States. And Joe Biden, by the way, the president who has politicized the Department of Justice worse than anyone I can recall in American history.
Sure, it's much worse.
Just going after his enemies. The worst ever is he's going after parents, a protected class in this country. So, of course, I click on it because I just can't help it.
You're that guy.
It is a Fox News alert too on my phone, and the article, of course, is nothing. Let me repeat this again. The article is absolutely nothing like that headline, that notification headline that came up. All right. It's nothing like that at all. In fact, it's all about the Department of Justice investigating all of these situations where members of school boards have been threatened in public, where they've been attacked, physically attacked practically, had parts of their lives ripped apart in public by people who just they hate them. They hate these people. In fact, let me here's the exact article that the Biden Department of Justice just launched a new war on parents. Here's what that links to. An article called Department of Justice Launching Efforts to Combat Threats of Violence Against School Officials. Well, that's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Launching a war against parents. And that was on Monday. Today, Tuesday, as we speak here, there were hearings this morning on the subject. And guess who gets the headline in the hearings? That's right, your favorite senator from Missouri, Jeff Hawley.
I love him.
And the headline today is Hawley tears into Merrick Garland for FBI crackdown on alleged harassment of school officials. That's right, alleged harassment of school officials. Now, keep in mind, the way they wrote that original article on Monday, they used the word alleged in quotes and violence in quotes, as if there has been nothing that has been brought forth against school officials. So the Department of Justice was just making shit up to harass parents. And of course, Josh Hawley takes it to the next level, which is this is the Department of Justice trying to crush good parents who just want to raise their kids and don't want critical race theory shoved down their throats. And the U.S. Department of Justice, under the auspices of Joe Biden, is using its vast powers to destroy parents who don't want their kids to have critical race theory pushed upon them. That's what this was about. But look at the twist. Look at the distortion. Look at how outrageous this is. This is the new war on Christmas, I guess.
That's it. He doesn't have time to do war on parents. He has no time to do war on parents. He's ramping up war on Christmas.
I know.
Those Starbucks cups are going to come out any day now, and they're going to be so secular. So secular.
Britt, what do they do? Because they really should be into the war on Christmas mode right now at Fox and on the right wing and with Trump, who can't tweet out anymore. And this is about the time they do it. But maybe I got it. I got an idea here of how stupid they can get with this, since we know that there's a worldwide shortage of basically everything because of the supply chain. That's our favorite phrase of the last few months. Shit can't get from here to there, so nothing can get built. So there aren't going to be any cars. There are going to be no toys. There's going to be no furniture. There's going to be just nothing, right? So maybe they can figure out a way to call the war on Christmas the war on the supply chain, and blame Joe Biden and Democrats for the problems all around the world that, of course, started when the coronavirus shut down the world economy a year and a half ago, and have yet to recover from that. But that just pissed me off so bad that this is their latest. This is their latest shtick. This is their latest lie. This is their latest culture war thing. And of course, it has to be. Remember, it's always a 3-word slogan: war on parents. Okay,
absolutely.
Can't be more than 3. Can't be more than 3. Doesn't work.
That's
doesn't
perfect.
fit on a billboard quite as well. Jesus, yeah. So that's my verdict for today. That's my verdict for today.
Go sell the rest of that Facebook stock. Get rid of that shit.
No. Of course. So, and part of the discussion with my guy yesterday was, I said, because we all know the same stuff at a certain level. I said, I guarantee you by tomorrow, which is now today, there'll already be people coming out saying, "Oh man, it's down 20 points. This is the greatest buying opportunity ever. Get in there now." Every time it's been hit over the last 10 years over something like this, then man, something comes back And
it's like Kramer said yesterday, this might be different. Kramer said this might be a little bit different than those other little setbacks. Oh, he's gone. Oh, I've lost you. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.